And we certainly inspire and encourage one another. And
Mm-hmm.
so I would certainly say being connected to the right people, reading the right things, feeding your
Yes.
spirit the right things, your ear gates, your eye gates,
Mm-hmm.
allowing those the positiveness to flow into you, and not just feeding your spirit anything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think that's certainly most important.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And,
and I love, one of the things I love about outreach is that, it gives us an opportunity to actually go out and to meet people really
mm-hmm.
where they are,
Right.
and then just being able to share with them on a down to earth basis, because everybody's not going to come into the four walls of
Mm-hmm.
the church. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think it's incumbent upon us to reach out even more,
Mm-hmm.
to our sisters, who may not have on the long black skirt, who may not have
Mm-hmm.
on the white blouse, and
Mm-hmm.
and you see them with the baseball hat on,
Mm-hmm.
hey sis, how you doing? How's it going?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we can do a lot to be able to bridge that gap and to allow them to see the Christ in us,
Mm-hmm.
because oftentimes when I have connected with younger people, particularly, I email them, I constantly Facebooking them, and I
Mm-hmm.
just make sure that we have some open communications, because I want them to know that, oh, I have a prayer partner. I have people that call me all the time just for prayer, and I always
Mm-hmm.
want to be that person that's available, to be able to pray with them, to be able to talk them through some situations and encourage them in the way of the Lord.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's powerful. That's powerful. And I think that's one of the things that's most important. Just really showing people that, people who love God, we are down to earth. We're not
Yes,
so high minded, that so heavenly minded that we know earthly good. We
yes,
do have those, yes. But for the most part, most people who love God, they understand that we have to maintain a balance, because we have to be in this world, and we have to bring the love of God to the world, so that people can understand that God is love, and the way
yes,
that God manifests Himself and the way that He shows up is through people.
yes,
You know,
absolutely,
uh,
absolutely.
and so I think that's so powerful. That's why I wanted to talk with you today as we prepare to have this program, but really about your outreach and, the things that you do, because that is going to be more prevalent in the days to come than people coming to church. And so I'm glad you brought that
Yes,
up, about how important it is for us to take church, if you will, take God to the community and meet people where they are. And so I'm so thankful that you have started this scholarship program. What are some of the other outreach mechanisms that you all have started? I know you do some outreach to the elderly and to those who are afflicted with HIV, AIDS, and cancer. So talk a little bit about that part of your outreach ministry.
sure. And Elder Mason, before I approach that, I just want to commend you. I was just thinking of one of the praise reports that I had received. It was one of the elderly ladies who had actually come to the conference, and everybody, the Lord was moving, and everyone was coming to get in the line, and
Mm-hmm.
they they were being laid hands on, and they were receiving prayer. But it was one elderly lady that was sitting off to the side, and you may not even remember this,
Mm-hmm.
but you actually went over to her and you just began to minister to her and encourage her.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, you would never know what a difference that made in her life. I mean,
Amen.
she talked about that for months, of how you actually came to her, and she couldn't get in the line. She couldn't move up there, but you came over and you spoke positively to her, and just spoke into her life. And I'm telling you, that effort, it just made such a difference, and I just want to commend you on that. And that's one of the features of the conference. Everybody talked about how down to earth the speakers were, and how approachable and how touchable they were, because sometimes you can go to conferences and they're so large, and you're in the nosebleed section and you don't really get that one-on-one
Right. Right.
interaction. And I just want to thank God for you and doing that. But the outreach piece, it is just crucial. I don't know if I ever shared with you, how Positive Impact actually came to be. It was actually inspired by an act of kindness. A couple of my best sister girlfriends actually took me out to dinner for my birthday. It was a luncheon, and they decided, we're just going to bless Dr. Brand with we're just going to bless her today. So they took me to the mall, and they blessed me with shoes. They just
Yes.
me with one pair after another.
Oh.
When I came back home, we had been to Nordstrom's, we had been to Dillard's, we had been to so many stores.
Yes.
I had about 15 to 18 pair of brand new shoes.
Wow.
And I remember coming home that night and sitting there and just looking at all of those shoes and just weeping, thinking that how blessed I really was. And, I thought about people who didn't have, all those women who may only have one pair of shoes. And then I went to Africa and I saw kids running around in schools with no shoes, just the dust on their feet. And so I just really began to, put this whole seeing a positive impact into my spirit about just positively impacting lives. I know most nonprofit organizations